Officers reportedly suffering minor injuries, bricks and bottles thrown, really in addition to what Constance is saying there. There are riot police there from the reports that I've seen as well, and clearly this is a tinderbox. We're in the height of summer and the emotions are running incredibly high. Riot police deployed as well, and this has gone from a very tragic situation to one where people are clearly extremely angry, and that has spilled over into violence and lawlessness.
And look, what is striking about this is a residential area. The mosque is in a residential area. We know that people must be trapped in their houses right now, local residents trying to come to terms with the grief and the shock and the horror of the attack that has taken place. And here we have escalated tension. And Constance spoke to us, didn't she, about a plume of black smoke that she saw. She was in an alleyway around the corner from the mosque. And I'm seeing a picture there as well. And Sky News are reporting a police van appears to have been set on fire, large flames billowing around the vehicle. So that is part of what we're seeing. Police are holding the line, holding one of the lines, as Constance says. More riot vans, more of those yellow matrix vans coming into the area, but it is still a very fragile situation. This is a developing story here on Times Radio that we're bringing you this evening. As we've been reporting, there are tense scenes in Southport as a result of that attack yesterday, in which 3 little girls have lost their lives, an attacker with a knife. And what you're seeing here are protests, demonstrations thought to be stirred up by far-right groups on social media who have met and gathered in their hundreds outside the mosque in Southport and have been shouting "English till I die," Tommy, Tommy Robinson, "We want our country back." This is what our reporters are telling us this evening, as well as aiming projectiles, bricks and stones and plant pots and bottles at the mosque. That they've been going through the windows of the mosque, but they've also been aiming some of those projectiles at police as well, Peter.
Yes, they have, and there's a big question here because Leeds, let's remember, was only a few days ago, and West Midlands police there struggled to deal with the scale of the problems that have been that were happening there, and the riot-like situation that was happening. The question for Merseyside police, which is another relatively small police force, it's not the Metropolitan Police, it's not a police force like the police service in Northern Ireland that's used to dealing with riots on a very frequent basis. The public order aspect of this, the fact that the police are perhaps in control, but perhaps they are not in control of parts. We certainly heard from Constance, and the evidence we're getting here from other journalistic outlets as well is telling us that this is very, very tense, and at points it would appear to be out of control. So for those police officers who are often not ready or on a frequent basis dealing with riot-like situations, well, I would imagine a Gold Command has been set up within Merseyside Police. I would imagine that has happened. The Police and Crime Commissioner actually spoke to her earlier today, and she was calling for calm. She was saying that there are rumours online which are not true. There are names online which are incorrect, and actually was calling for people to be responsible, to only retweet or share information that was completely clear and accurate. And the thing is as well that it's not just about platforms like Twitter and Instagram, it's also within WhatsApp and WhatsApp groups, and these things can get sort of below the radar. Lots of information can be spread, false information can be spread very, very quickly amongst various groups. There's also the question of whether the people who are there tonight are from Merseyside or whether they have gone to there to cause trouble. And that is people almost being angry on behalf of other people. We saw in a peaceful protest, but nonetheless a very tense one, when Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, was laying a wreath earlier this evening alongside the Chief Constable of Merseyside Police and a number of other people like Steve Rotherham, for example, who's the mayor of the large area, the Liverpool area. Well, there was a heckler there. That heckler shouted, "What about our kids? What about our kids?" And certainly that level of frustration is there. There is grief, but there's also frustration, and that's what Merseyside Police are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, and as you said, all eyes really on where these protesters have come from. If you're just tuning in, it's Times Radio. There is an incredibly tense atmosphere at the moment in Southport. That is the town on Merseyside where an attacker launched a knife attack on a children's Taylor Swift and yoga session. 3 little girls have died as a result of that, and others are still in hospital, along with 2 adults critically injured. And what's happened now is a demonstration advertised widely on social media today, particularly by far-right groups, that is playing out right this minute in Southport, outside the mosque, which is in a residential area of the town. And just to repeat what we're hearing, firecrackers or small fireworks being thrown at police vans. There's a heavy police presence there. Paul Brand of ITV reports a girl crying in the crowd earlier. A large group of mostly men persistently pelting the mosque with objects. And we know that those objects are bottles and bricks, plant pots, stones. Armed police have arrived. We know that there are police dogs there as well, and some police have sustained minor injuries as a result of the amount of projectiles that are flying around at the moment. And this is a situation that has turned incredibly ugly in Southport. That is safe to say. Two reporters we've spoken to on the ground there say that the police are holding the line to some extent, but perhaps the situation, as they see it, as they report it to us, is not entirely under control at the moment. Shouts of Tommy Robinson, English till I die. And there's no doubt Peter Cardwell, TalkTV, with us, just joined us here in the studio to report some of what we're seeing across this breaking story. There is no doubt there is a racial element to the protest that we're seeing.
Yes,
here today.
There's no
that is for sure.
There's no doubt about that, and there are false rumours going around online about the origin of the alleged attacker. Of course, there is one suspect who Merseyside police still have in custody. They haven't charged him yet. They are. They may or may not do that. Of course, they're questioning him at the moment. But there is false information. We know that because the Police and Crime Commissioner has said it earlier on. But now we are seeing all sorts of very, very worrying things. We're seeing this in real time happening now, and indeed Tommy Robinson himself has tweeted about this. Of course, his real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon. There are. It's interesting because it's certainly a very tense situation. We've seen the Home Secretary there, we've seen various politicians, and we've seen a lot of anger at those politicians even being there. Now, the Prime Minister was there, of course, to represent the nation, to say how unbelievably sad he was on behalf of the government. But now, very rapidly, we're in a situation where I'm sure there's at the very least a gold command at Merseyside Police. I wonder actually if there could be a COBRA tomorrow in Downing Street, if this hopefully will stay as it is and dissipate very, very shortly. Yeah. But if it gets worse, there could be a major sort of national emergency here. I hope there isn't. I don't want to say anything or stoke anything, but certainly there are a lot of very angry people.
Yeah, this is a situation which is escalating as we speak. Scenes of violent disorder in Southport at the moment, and I don't want to inflame this any further, but some of the footage that we're seeing is worrying. The police are trying their best to control the situation.